Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we will be discussing Scooby Doo the movie. Now Scooby Doo the movie starts off as every Scooby Doo movie would. Daphne gets captured by the ghost, and Daphne just and Daphne is screaming, "Anytime will be great, guys, for you to help me." So Velma tells Fred that Daphne has been captured in like a ways, I guess. They are saying that Daphne is the damsel in distress. But believe me, throughout this video, she changes. So, so Daphne tells Fred that she needs to, okay, well, Velma tells Fred, I'm sorry, that Velma tells Fred that Daphne needs to be rescued. And he says, "Okay, Scooby and Shaggy and me are on it. When the ghosts go into the trap, we will get Daphne to safety and everything will be okay." Well, Shaggy and Scooby are scared of the ghosts, so they hide in barrels, and then the ghosts end up fighting them, and then they end up getting into the trap as well, but they still trap the ghost. But when everything's said and done and every autograph is signed by every person who loves Fred, Fred just takes the credit for Velma's plan, and he's been doing that ever since the gang got together to solve mysteries. He's been taking credit for her plans, so Velma decides to quit. Then Daphne decides to quit, and Shaggy and Scooby try to get them back when they try to quit, because Shaggy says, "Come on, guys, don't do this, we're a team." But they're not hearing anything of it. So Shaggy and Scooby gets back into the Mystery Inc. van, and this is when Scooby says, "Well, Shaggy, what's next for us?" And then this is when Shaggy says, "I don't know, Scoob, but it looks like it's just you and me now." So it's 2 years later, and everybody's gone their separate ways, and Shaggy and Scooby are having a barbecue inside of the truck. And when someone knocks on the door and they say they have a message for a Mr. Rogers and a Mr. Doo, and the Rogers is Shaggy Rogers, and the Doo is Scooby Doo, unless you guys didn't know that. So anyway, they get scared and try to clean up really fast, and so they can get out of there. And then the guy knocks again, and then Shaggy says, "I'm sorry, but we don't solve mysteries anymore." And as the guy's explaining, they still say no. And the guy says, "We will give you $10,000 if you can come to Spooky Island, solve this mystery for my boss." And they got an all-you-can-eat buffet. And then they are in. So Shaggy and Scooby are off to solve the mystery in Spooky Island. So it turns out that Shaggy and Scooby are not the only ones who got the invitation. Velma, Fred, and Daphne got it too. So They all just think they can solve the mystery on their own, but Shaggy says, "Hang on, gang. Maybe this is the sign. Since we're all here together, let's try to work together and let's try to do the thing that we used to do where we put our hands in the middle and we say, hooray!" And then Daphne says, "I will do it if Fred and Velma do it." And then Fred just says, "People are watching, Shaggy." And then Scooby's the only one who says hooray. And then Shaggy says hooray. And then they go to get on the plane. And hold on. Are you telling me that nobody knows that it is a dog in a dress, in a hat, in a disguise to get on the plane? Are you telling me nobody can notice that? Please, it cannot just be me who is thinking this. Because when I was reviewing the movie, I just wondered, how did Scooby get past security? He's a dog. But I guess movie logic. Anyway, moving on. So, while they're sitting on the plane, Shaggy and Scooby tried to eat a little snack. But Shaggy gets distracted by a pretty girl walking on the plane, and her name is Mary Jane. And she also likes Scooby snacks, like Freddy and Scooby. And she also likes Scooby snacks, like Shaggy and Scooby. I'm sorry, I said Freddy and Scooby. Like Shaggy and Scooby. So so she's she starts sneezing, but she says, "Oh, the only thing I'm allergic to is dogs." And so Shaggy asks Scooby to move so he can talk to Mary Jane some more. So Scooby goes sit by Velma, but there is a cat on board. There is a cat on board on the plane, and Scooby is just so irritated by the cat that he starts barking. And then Velma says, "Oh, Grandma, come down," because they are pretending that Scooby is the grandma so they won't get kicked off the plane. And Fred tells Velma the only way to handle a dog is to tap them on the nose. So Fred does that, and Scooby actually punches him, and then they get into a big fight. And then when they arrive on the island, so they try to do it separately, and they actually do pretty well. So they all stumble upon the castle, and I gotta tell you, there is this one voodoo man that is doing magic, and he tells about the castle to Daphne. And then Daphne says, "Ha, you're just trying to trick me." So she goes up to the castle by herself, and I know what you must be thinking. "Addie, I thought you said that she was scared that she was going to get captured by a ghost when you first started this video." Well, she has mastered karate, so she is not scared anymore. So she is never going to be the damsel in distress anymore because she knows karate. And so, while she does find the clue, Fred is also there. He finds the clue, and since they're all together, they work together. And Velma, Velma and Fred, they team up because Fred teams up with Daphne all the time, and Velma's been feeling left out. And it was kind of odd because Velma says, "I get how you are, Fred. All you care about is pretty girls." And then he says, "No, I'm a man of substance. But smart girls turn me on too. But 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 smart girls are but 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 mm, mm, but dorks like you turn me on too." And then she walks away disappointed. I was like, dude, did you have to call her a dork? Just because you're smart doesn't make you a dork. Did you have to say that? So, while that is going on, they do find the clues, and Shaggy and Scooby, they do this farting competition. I don't know why. But they do this farting competition. Until they see Daphne, then they stop it. And then Shaggy blames Scooby for doing the farting competition. And then after that's over, they actually do get invited to this party, and they kind of forget about the mystery in a while. But hang on, it's not over yet. Scooby actually gets tricked into getting a phone call that he has hamburgers waiting for him. So, while he goes hunting for the hamburgers, Shaggy is talking to Mary Jane, and they are actually having a good time. And then poor Scooby gets scared, and he sees something strange about the island, but Shaggy doesn't believe him, and he just thinks he's just trying to be a scaredy cat so he won't be able to spend time with Mary Jane. So they all find something. They all find something in that scary castle that they go hunting in, and it turns out that the place is a brainwashing class. So they brainwash every person that is on that island, and that is why they were called there, because the teenagers are acting different than they usually act. And the boss, uh, Marcus Various, I know I said that wrong, Marcus Various, sent for them all, and And it turned out that they found that this place is being brainwashed, and they actually had suspects. The first suspect is that guy that did the voodoo magic by the castle. He 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 is suspect number one. In the second in 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 the in the second suspect is the guy who was doing the magic show. He is suspect number two. And the last suspect is Marcus Various. So they got three suspects. And I have to give it to them. While they were having fun at the party, Velma was looking at this Egyptian map that she found in the castle and reading it. And she actually gets a little love interest in this one. They were so cute. And she started telling the story about back in the old days. It was just her and the gang. And there was this little puppy, Rappy Doo. And they actually kicked him out of the gang because he peed on Daphne. You know, because he was a puppy, but he was like Scooby. So they kicked him out of the gang because he peed on Daphne. So anyway, after the flashback was over, they started talking, and lo and behold, at the party, they were attacked by another monster. And then the gang does some more snooping around, and it turned out that these monsters have that the teenagers who are on the island are not really teenagers. They are monsters, but they need a human body to survive in the sun. So, what Velma does, Velma, my girl, so smart. I love you, Velma. I love you. So what Velma does is that when she finds out that Daphne's been attacked and she knows all the scientific stuff about it, when they are in the room, she puts sunlight on Daphne and the monster comes out of her, and then um and then and then hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself. So remember when I told you that Shaggy that Shaggy and Mary Jane, they started hanging out together? Well, they did until the monster detected them, and Shaggy and Mary Jane and Scooby got away on bikes, but if you look very closely, Mary Jane bumped her head, and when she bumped it, she looked at Scooby with evil eyes. So it turned out that Mary Jane, the person that Shaggy has been crushing on, is the monster. And him and Scooby, Shaggy and Scooby actually fight, and then Scooby falls down a hole, and then Mary Jane tells Shaggy, no, don't go down there, because that is where all the lost souls are. So, since they are monsters in the human host bodies, all the lost souls are locked down deep down in a cave, in a hole. So anyway, Shaggy goes down into the cave, and then they find and then he finds Fred. He finds Fred's spirit. 'Cause let me tell you what happened. Okay. When Shaggy and Scooby got caught, Mary Jane Mary Jane and Velma said, we have to do something. Then Mary Jane called for help, not knowing that the people who were coming to help them rescue Shaggy, who was coming to help them rescue Daphne and Fred, were monsters as well. In the next scene, they end up back on the sunny beach. And then they get chased again. And then this is when Scooby finds out that Mary Jane is a monster, and Scooby tries to tell Shaggy, but Shaggy's having none of it. So they have their little fight. Scooby falls, and then Mary Jane says, no, Shaggy is too dangerous. And then Shaggy said, I got to, he's like my best pal. So he goes down there and he finds the lake. Full of spirits. And then he finds Fred. And then Daphne. And then Daphne's body is with Velma. And Velma found it out that she is a monster. So Velma puts the light on her, pulls the curtains back from a room that they're in, and the monster comes out, and then Fred's spirit goes into that body of Daphne. And then Daphne's spirit after after um after Shaggy finds her, goes into Fred, and Velma and and Velma goes into Velma's body when she finds her body back. So what happens is when the monsters take over, all their souls are sucked down in that cave. But enough with that, because Scooby is in trouble because a worker at Spooky Island said that that mm, mm, wait, wait, wait. Micros Caves. I know I'm saying it wrong. Michaelis Caves, the owner of Spooky Island, wanted to talk to him, and he he pretended that he knew what Scooby Doo was going through. And he said, "But you are special to me, Scooby Doo, and I want you to be a sacrifice." Now, keep that sentence in mind. He wants Scooby to be a sacrifice for something, but we don't know what yet. And it turns out that the map that Velma found that is shaped like a pyramid, it puts all of the spirits into different bodies until they can find the right one. So all of them get back to normal, and then they find out that the only reason that they were invited to Spooky Island is so that Marcus Various can have Scooby Doo. And everyone is asking the same question that I started at that 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 even I started asking myself. Okay, so Fred says, okay, the the legends that the 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 legend that Velma read says that to complete the transformation and to make the transformation permanent for this one guy to live again, he needs a pure soul. But they didn't say that it had to be human, so they all find out that he is after Scooby Doo, and then Freddy says, "Well, if he's only after Scooby, why were the rest of us invited?" And then Shaggy says, "That doesn't matter, man. We gotta save Scooby Doo." So they all team up. so they so so they all team up and they pretend and 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 actually they pretend to be part of the crowd to get Scooby back. But Fred overdoes it and he starts to dance when nobody else is dancing. And I'm like, Fred, you're busted. Give it up. But, but, mm, but, but, Markevius Various knows that Fred and Velma snuck in to rescue Scooby, but they're not giving up. Oh no. They begin fighting the monsters like no tomorrow for Scooby Doo. And and Shaggy actually have a heart to heart, and Shaggy and it and Shaggy actually says, "Who is my best friend in the whole wide world?" And then Scooby says, "Scooby Doo," and then they make up, and it is so sweet and wholesome. Okay, but never mind that now. They are fighting the monsters, and they and they are winning the fight. And it turns out that Mark Various is just a robot, and the one who is really in charge is Rappy Doo. So, Rappy Doo gets really big and he tries to get Scooby Doo, but the gang isn't having it. So, Daphne is fighting a guard that won't that actually won't let her into the cave, and and the and well, not a guard, actually she is actually fighting a wrestler that is picking on her and saying that that pretty soon she is gonna have someone come rescue her, but no, she uses her karate, and then she says, "Now who is the damsel in distress?" And then the wrestler, it, the and 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 then the wrestler says me, and then Daphne says, straight up. And then he and and then she pushes him down, and then with him being pushed down there, it actually breaks all the stuff that Rappy Doo set up, and they actually they they actually they actually defeat Rappy Doo, and he ends up going to jail, and and when it's all over, some reporters ask Fred, "How do you do it?" And then Fred says, "I would love to share, but really, it's my teammate Velma who actually did all the work and came up with a brilliant plan. Velma, would you care to share?" And so and so Velma shares the plan that actually saved everyone. Oh, oh, um, and every spirit was free. So everybody that was trapped in that well, they all made it back to their bodies safe and sound. And Velma actually actually meets up with their guy again, and he actually hugs her and says, Velma, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And then Daphne and Fred, they kiss for the first time. And then Scooby and Shaggy, they hug. And then Mary Jane hugs Shaggy and Scooby. And they actually like each other now. Scooby Doo actually likes Mary Jane now because Mary Jane is back to herself and no more monster is in her. And so, at the end of the movie, they are still on the island eating hot peppers. Um, and it's too hot for Scooby, so he tries to get some water, but the water doesn't work. And then Shaggy gives him ketchup, and then the ketchup works. And then they eat it again, and then they say hi, and then smoke is coming out of the restaurant. And then that is the end of the movie. Bye, and see you guys for my next video. Well, actually, I was thinking about doing the second Scooby Doo movie. Oh, and I actually had to tell you guys. What Fred said to Velma is that Fred actually does think Velma is pretty too, but Velma didn't take that as a compliment because he said too. He didn't say is. Alright, bye. See you guys in my second Scooby Doo video. Bye.